come up and share. Oh, do you guys need, are you gonna share one mic? How do you wanna do this? Yeah, right?
Just talk, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, one at a time.
We're fine.
Very good. We'll put this off though, so you can go ahead and, you wanna have it on here or hold it?
We could
We
put
can
it,
just
So,
leave it on.
we can put it, yeah, we leave it on?
Yeah,
Okay.
just leave it on.
Great, so let's welcome up Bill and Shannon. They were here about a year ago, and just such an incredible story. Hey, thanks, Melanie. Cool. Okay, anyway, he has such a beautiful story, but Shannon was instrumental in making sure that her husband stayed here. So let's give them a warm round of applause, and you will be inspired by it. Okay, and that's on.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
How many
yes.
people were here last time we came up? Oh, so good.
So we got some
Bunch of
good
idiots.
people. Yay.
here's another microphone.
Oh, perfect. How about this guy?
I know. I'm gonna move this down, I think, so we can see these guys.
Okay,
Well,
and then you got that one.
just because, there's some shorter people
That one's
here.
not.
Hello.
Okay, that's not. My name's Bill Jeralds. This is my beautiful wife, Shannon. We were here, I'm not sure how long ago.
About a year, I think it's been about a year.
So let me tell you why I'm not sure how long it's been. In 2005, I had a cold, standard, chest cold. And Shannon kept saying, you should go see the doctor, it's getting worse. I'm like, don't worry about it, it's fine, I'll take some NyQuil, things will be good. And finally a lung collapsed. So they took me to the hospital.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was pretty miserable. And the doctor was like, don't worry, Shannon, we're gonna blow up his lung, we're gonna keep him overnight, we'll send him home in the morning. And within hours, the other lung collapsed. I got double pneumonia, sepsis of the blood, and something called ARDS. When you have pneumonia, there's fluid in your lungs, and it congeals, and it's a death sentence. So after almost a month in a coma, they called my beautiful wife and said, your husband's gone, we're gonna stop his treatment today. And she's like, you're good men, you're smart men, you're just men, and God will have the final word. So they said, listen, I understand you love this man, but I'm telling you, he will never get out of that bed. And if he does, you're gonna be dealing with a 50-year-old infant. He's not gonna be able to walk, he's not gonna be able to talk. And she said, I don't believe a word you're saying, and I'm not gonna tell you that. You don't know him like I know him. He will get up. So that went back and forth and back and forth. And finally she said, listen, I'm gonna end this really quickly for you. You turn off his machines and I'm gonna own this hospital. Period. So after they talked her off the ledge, 2 days later I woke up. I woke up with no memory. And to this day I have no real life memories. I don't remember being a child or the only thing I knew, there was a psychiatrist that used to come in every day and he's like, after I was awake, and he's like, so who are you? And I'd be like, Mary? And he's like, no. He goes, where do you live? And I'd be, Portland? No, you're Bill and you're in Ventura. And it went on every day for I don't know how long. And finally, a week, one day he came and he's like, I guess he was in a bad mood. He's like, do you know anything at all? Do you know anything? And I said, I know her because I married her, but I don't know her name. And he said, what's your wife? That's Shannon. So she put me back. I have a daughter. I don't know how old she is.
She's
40. So I have a daughter, and I have brothers, and I have stepsons, and I have a really full life. And now it was all gone. Everything was gone. Like every day was like, I'd wake up and people would talk to me, and I'd look at their mouth, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? Like everything was so weird. Like I could imagine being like an infant and just seeing the world around you, and it's just like so foreign. So Shannon put me back in touch with everyone, but I couldn't go back to work. I used to work for AT&T. I did their executive, I ran the call centers. So I went back to work, and I get in the car to go to work, and I tell Shannon, like, hey, where am I going? She's like, you're going to work. I'm like, where do I work? She goes, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. I said, I don't know where I'm lost. And she would get in her car, come and get me and take me back home or take me to work, and I'd sit in my office all day like, well, this is kind of nice, you know, just sitting around. I'm surprised they pay you for it, but I am. So this went on for quite a while until one day someone comes to my office and says, okay, it's time. Okay, so I follow them out of the office and go in this big room. There's a bunch of people, they're all executives, and everyone's looking at me, and I'm like, good morning. Good morning. And no one's really talking. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, you called a meeting. So I left that room and called her and said, I'm done. I don't know how to function in the real world anymore. And that's all I'd ever done in my whole life was computer work and that type of thing. So this is the part I don't really share too often, but I'll share it. Because I couldn't do anything, I couldn't go back to work, and the world was just so odd, it was upside down. Shannon said, listen, I'll go to work, but at night when I'm gone, you've got to make sure the boys are tucked in because they're afraid of the dark. I'd be okay. So that was my one big job, and every night I'm looking at the watch, I'm like, oh, it's time. And I go in and tuck them in and make sure they went to sleep. So one night I went in to put him in bed, and there was an angel holding my son in bed. And I ran, woke her up like, hey, check this out, you gotta come and see this. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, there's an angel in the boys' room. She's like, honey, the doctor said you would hallucinate. And I said, I'm telling you, please come and look. So we go in, and of course, nothing. And in the morning, I'm like, I'm supposed to make angels.
Wow.
So Shannon comes down, and she comes out for breakfast. I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm going to make angels.
I grabbed him by the hand, and I was really sweet, and I said, I love you, but you don't have any talent.
So it harkens back to what you were saying earlier about limiting ourselves, right? Because we all limit ourselves. And she said, you know you don't have any talent, right? I said, I don't know anything, so I can do everything.
Wow, great statement.
And she's like, well, be that as it may, I'll clear out a little room on the refrigerator for your drawings. I'm like, I'm not sure how I'm going to make them, but I'm going to make angels. And she's like, honey, you've never drawn, you've never. I said, okay, well, we'll see what happens. That very same day, a friend stopped by and said, do you want this scroll, son? I'm like, yeah. And Shannon's like, no. This guy has no aptitude. He's going to cut his fingers off. I'm like, I really want it, though. And I started cutting out pieces of wood, pottery that we had laying around. And it turned into an angel about this big after about 3.5 weeks. And Shannon would come home tired from her job, and I'd have glue all over the ground. One time I glued the sofa carpet to the floor. She goes, no, I'm just going to go make a sandwich. Please clean up when I make a sandwich. Okay. And I heard her, and she's like, what on earth? And I said, what's the matter? She said, there's no butter knives. I said, well, I don't know what those are, so. And she comes out, she's like, that in your hand. I said, these are glue scrapers. She's like, you know what?
What?
You need some adult supervision.
There used to be.
So
Oh, yeah, here.
I've been making angels since 2009.
Wow.
And we just finished our 3,000th angel. Yeah. They're in the Vatican, they're in the White House. Obama's White House. That's great. Yeah. So there's a big list of people that have my angels, and I'm honored every day. But when I get to come and share the story, because I'm sure everyone in this room has something. At some point in your life, you have health problems, you have money problems, family problems, friend problems, all the things that we deal with every day. And sometimes we let that stop us from who we truly are and who we can be. Because I don't think any of us really know where the end of the road is, like, this is who I am now. It's a pretty good statement because it is who you are now, but it might not be who you are tomorrow. Things change really quickly. For example, just before Christmas this year, I went to walk my dogs. We have 2 little white dogs also. So I went to walk, Shannon was painting angels, and I went to walk the dogs, and I got just outside my door, and I'm like, I don't feel very well. So I came back in, and I'm like, Shannon, I don't feel well. She's like, what's the matter? I said, I don't know, I don't, like everything's hazy, and then I passed out. So she called the paramedics. And they came, and by the time they got there, I'm like, hey, I just don't really feel well. And they're like, well, we can't leave you. We got to take you to the hospital. I'm like, oh man. Every time I go to the hospital, it's a problem. Every time. Like, I can't do it again. They're like, you don't have a choice. You got to go. So I go to the hospital, and they're checking me out, and my heart's beating fast, and all this weird stuff. And it turns out I was born with a bad heart valve. And it chose that time to actually lock up and not operate anymore. So in February, just before my birthday, they replaced my heart valve. So again, it's one of those things where you never know what tomorrow's going to be, but I will tell you, because I live it every day, and I see it every day. You know, I deal with a lot of people all the time, and they're like, they can't get past the tragedies in their life. They just cannot let it go for whatever reason. They don't feel safe enough of themselves to say, look, what's happened has happened. But tomorrow hasn't happened yet, and I can change tomorrow. I can be anything I want to be. And you never know what you're going to be. And when you open your heart, and when you open your mind and say, this is what I really want to do, this is what I feel I should do, what I'm drawn to do, you'll be surprised how often it's the exact thing you need to do. So I have about a week's worth of real memory, which is why I don't remember who was here or how long ago it was. So every day, it's kind of a reset. We sit down for breakfast, and Shannon says, this is what we have to do, and this is who you have to call, and this is it. So to live in the very present, because it is very, very present for me, is such a blessing. Like, I wake up with no memory, but I also wake up with no anger. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not, like, every day is just kind of, you know. Yeah, and that, believe me, that is such a blessing. Maybe not so much for you. Maybe not quite so much. Because she'll be like, remember when we were talking about, and I'm like, no, I do not. No, I do not know that. You know, so that childlike state where everything is good and everything is sweet, and there's a reason for the things that we do. There's a reason all of us are here right now. I had actually met you in Ventura. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was at the little, angel store.
At the angel store.
At the angel store.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you guys want to share your story about the doctors and you doing the prayers?
We do.
So bear with me. We all have things that we struggle with. I have anxiety.
And you're married to me.
And depression, and it's hard for me to talk in front of people, so I'll do the best I can. When Bill and I first moved to Ventura, I would go to the angel store, but he wouldn't go in with me. He's like, I don't like going in there. You go in there, I'll wait for you. And so this went on for about a year or so, and then he got sick, and I would go into the angel store. I didn't know Keith and Francesca very well, but they were very sweet to me. And I would write a prayer before I'd go to the hospital to the ICU. And I would just write that, you know, the doctors, you know, may they heal him, may he heal himself, you know. And it was difficult because it was right after Thanksgiving, so it was kind of the holiday time. And our boys were 5 years old, we have twins. And if I get emotional, I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
You earned it.
So I realized who who were my true angels in all this is for the nurses. So if you have a nurse as a friend or family member, or you are a nurse, thank you, because we don't say that enough. They do the heavy lifting, I guess you could say. And they would let me stay in the ICU when I wasn't supposed to. They'd sneak me in. They would let me fall asleep next to his bed. I wrote Christmas cards next to his bed. I was allowed to put pictures up on his wall. The nurses would stay after and rub his hands and feet and talk to me just to make me feel better. And
Angels on earth, sure.
I brought them, I wanted to bring them flowers, but I couldn't. So I baked them cookies. And I thought, well, this keeps me busy when I can't be in the ICU. And
But every day she would go to the angel store and write a prayer.
I'd write a prayer. And I wouldn't tell anybody anything because I thought
Have any of you been to the angel store besides you? Okay, so you know the prayer walls, okay.
So I'd go and write a prayer, and I wouldn't tell anybody because I thought if I tell anybody what's going on, then I'm putting this energy out there that this horrible event is happening. And maybe I might acknowledge that it's horrible and that I might make it worse. So I decided to pick up a bunch of little ceramic angel things at Michael's, and I painted them all angels and brought them in a big basket and drop off a prayer. And I trying to keep busy. I made sure the house was decorated, all the presents were bought. I thought if I stopped for one moment, I'd start going into a tailspin of negativity and why me, and I found my true love, and am I being played?
Or maybe she just settled down. I don't know where we're at on that.
It was, I'd gotten out of an abusive relationship, and I didn't want my boys to see that. I wanted them to see women as being empowered and strong, and that love can be found in many different ways. And they were young enough where the divorce, they were able to handle that. And so I would go in, and sometimes I would read those prayers on the prayer wall. Not to be nosy, but I thought, I want to be able to feel kindness for somebody else going through something, because I'm so consumed by what I'm going through. Women that can't have children, and it broke my heart, because here I have twins, and people that have lost children, or people that are going through the exact same thing I am with a loved one in the hospital, or just being sad.
Let me jump in real quick. The prayer wall, we actually became like family with people from the angel store. So we've been there a lot over these many years. We have personally met 31 people that were told by doctors, you can't have kids, that came, put prayers on those walls. And we met at least 18 of the kids that were born to people who could not have kids. Like, we've seen it in real life. We've seen it from writing the prayer to bringing that child into the store to say, look what God did for us. So those prayers that are going to be housed here with you have such strength and power. And you were saying earlier, when you hold those prayers in your hand, because they're just Post-it notes, and that's the whole thing. That's what's weird for me. So I make angels, Shannon paints angels, and I hold the wood, and I'm like, it's just wood, until something special happens. And then it's not just wood anymore. It's just a Post-it note until something special happens. And it makes you realize that everything, as small a thing as you can get, or as big as you want to make your world, your surroundings, it's all so special. And it seems mundane until it's not anymore. Like, life seems mundane. You get up and you go to work every day, or whatever it is you take care of, sick parents, or whatever it is, it seems so mundane, and today's this, today's that. Until it's not mundane anymore, until it's special, until you realize that you're part of something so much bigger. Just being you is bigger than all the things around you. And believe me, there are days where I wake up and I'm like, I'm not all I have is in me today. But I wake up every day, I get to make angels. I get to work with my best friend. I'm never without her, because to this day, if I leave the house alone, I'm lost. I just get lost. That's the one thing I wish I had.
And he has. He's left the house walking the dogs when I was sick. And our apartment manager saw him cross the street, and she ran and got me. And said, he crossed the street, he wasn't supposed to cross the street. So two blocks up the road, I found him just kind of wandering around, and he was surprised to see me, and then he realized, I don't know how to get back home. So,
You know, the world's a beautiful place when you're not really like familiar with it. Like everything's kind of a jump ball for me. Every day is just a little bit different. We came up whenever we did, and so this time we're like, hey, do we have the address? And she's like, well, we've been there before. And I'm like, well, yeah, but how do we get there without an address? She's like, well, I'll show you how to get up here. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this, I've never seen this. And so we ended up in the park over here. Like if you go too far, you get to the park, that's a beautiful little park, people are out there having a birthday party. I'm like, this is kind of cool, maybe we just hang here. She's like, no, we really do have a mission today. So our mission, this is what we've determined that our mission is. We always talk about our angelic mission, but it's not just what we do. It's bringing love and peace to the world, and letting people hear our story, because our story, it's not because it's our story that it's a great story. It's a great story because each and every one of us has something. Like you said, I'm thankful I can walk. You know, when you think about that, when you think about just those words, like what if everyone in here had a loss of that ability, or to talk? I have an uncle who had a stroke. He's all there mentally, he cannot speak. And it's been years and years and years, he can't speak. You know, when you realize that things can happen in our lives, things change our lives. We have to be the stewards of what our life is. We have to be able to say, I'll take your gracious offers. I'll take your effort to reach out to people and say, I'm not in this alone. Yeah, I'm hurt today. I'm sad today. But I'm not in this alone. There's people around you that love you. And you know, it's the love. Of course, it starts with ourselves. We have to love ourselves, because if we don't love ourselves, well, why would we reach out? Why would you try to get better? Why would you try to be happy if you don't love yourself? But when you do love yourself, you start to realize that other people love you, that other people care about your well-being, your happiness. And it just doesn't take much, a smile. You know, I'm so fortunately blessed to wake up every day. We live in Ventura. We have a beautiful place. We work together. I make the angels. Shannon paints the angels. It's a very blessed life. But I will tell you, as I look back, had I said, you're right, Shannon, you know what, I don't have any talent. Had I made that my reality, that would have stopped that story. If Shannon, with that room full of doctors telling her, your husband's gone, he's dead, or he's dead right now, we're just keeping him alive, had she said, you're the doctor, you're right. But she didn't, not because she's stubborn, although she is. Let's not gloss that over. But it's love. So love really is the true core of everything. Because I said, so Shannon, when they told you that, what made you go on? And she said, it wasn't the fear of being alone. It wasn't the sadness for what you were going through. It wasn't the sadness for what I was going through. It's because I love you to your core. I love you. And I just couldn't see another outcome. I wouldn't accept another outcome because I love you. So our story is a miracle. It's a miracle. I mean, truly, even my doctors are like, listen, Bill, we don't talk about miracles. You are a miracle. I would have bet everything I own, including my family. You were never getting out of that bed. You have no scar tissue on your lungs. You have nothing. You are a walking miracle. And I don't talk about miracles. But we're all miracles. We all have everyone in this room has a story of something fantastic. Everyone does. So our mission is to share our story with other people. So we all realize that no one's higher, no one's lower. We're all in this together. And people we meet every single day, believe me, I'm always like stunned when we meet people who are kind of like rude to us. I'm just like, what happened there? How'd that turn out? But when I just take a minute and just realize, because I don't have much memory, I don't carry things very long either. So when people are rude, it's that immediate visceral, hey, I kind of hurt. And then I'm like, okay, so what's next? You know, so learning to move on from the things that hurt us are the things that will really ingratiate your life. It'll make your life better. Because when you continue to hang on to the hurt, I will say this, as Christmas comes up every year, Shannon gets very, very sad. And it's painful for me because I don't quite get what sadness is or why she's sad. And then she reminds me, that Christmas you were is when they were telling me you were dead. And it's hard for me. So every year she takes out all our little Christmas ornaments and she says where we got it, who we were with when we got put it on the tree. That type of love is the love we should all share for one another. It's important for us to say, you look nice today, to acknowledge who we are in your world. We don't live in our own world. We can't live in our world. Because at first when she's crying at Christmas, I'm like, what is your problem? Because I just didn't click that there shouldn't be sadness at Christmas. I know. I roll my eyes too. Because as a child, which is kind of what I am, Christmas is happy. Like, why are you crying? I don't get it. Until you realize that you're a part of everyone in here is a part of someone else's life. And the things that happen in that small arena change the world around us. And we can choose to be sad. We found a way to get past it because she's like, and this one, and I'm like, oh, I know that one, we bought that. And she's like, no, that's not what happened at all. But I'm trying, I give it my best shot every time. So Christmas, setting up the Christmas tree is a 2-day event because we go through every little ornament. And it's kind of like a little flashcard. How about this one? So it's kind of fun, You make the best of what you have.
And the boys take bets. They take bets. And sometimes something will happen and my son will whisper, okay, let's see how long Dad takes to notice, or let's see if he'll, because we'll get something for the house and a month later he's like, oh, did we just get this? So we're always taking bets and but we make it joyful. And
You have to, right?
And something that's really important, I went to a psychotherapist and I went through everything for a total of almost 3 years. I just took the file cabinet and dumped it on the floor and went through everything in my life, everything. Painful things, happy things. And I realized it's not the sadness. I don't cry because of sadness anymore. I cry because of joy. Because it's one more Christmas with my sons. It's one more Christmas with Bill. It's one more It's one more everything, when I was told there was nothing. And if I look back on it, I didn't appreciate it like I could have, or like I should have. I would think of it as a chore. And now, nothing is a chore. It's,
Because what do I say? Jackpot when you marry me.
but that goes both ways.
So, thank you for sharing our story. Thank you for being a part of it.
And
Yeah, you know what, we often don't get to ask. Do you have a question?
question, and you guys, I'm gonna pass this around, because I want them to see the back of this. So
Yes.
pass that around, because you'll see his work on bigger
Or
angels.
did you ever feel that angel again, or see him?
I see my angel often, but let me explain to you what my angel looks like. You know what the aurora borealis is, the northern lights? That's what my angel looks like. I can see the female form because the outside lights move real slow and she moves fast, the energy's a little faster. So it doesn't look like this angel, but it's very clear what it is. And I don't see it when I'm like, oh, I'm depressed anyway. None of that. It happens at the most random times. And it's so, it's just hard to even explain it doesn't make me emotional. At first, it would scare me, but now it's just so commonplace with me that I feel it. I feel the presence most of the time, maybe because I want to feel it most of the time, I think I feel it most of the time, but I see her quite often.
There's something else I want to address. Bill never really talks about this, not because it's private, but because he doesn't want anyone to think he's crazy.
Let's go late in the game there.
So the veil is kind of thin for him.
Yes.
He doesn't know what he saw in the coma, if it was the drugs or if it was heaven. He doesn't quite know, but he saw, specific things, like his family used to play cards all the time and gather around the table, and his mother and his brother were there playing cards, and he tried to talk to them and they wouldn't speak to him. And then he ended up being led by some beautiful woman to a stone building, and all she said was, it's not your time. And that's all he can remember from the coma. But sometimes he sees things, he doesn't even know really what they are. Or he'll see colors around people, and he'll say, I think that person's really sick, or I think that person's in pain. I don't know how I know, I just know. And it doesn't happen all the time, but with me, because I'm there, if there's something wrong and I'm keeping it to myself,